Sharael, Maldine. I spoke the Forsaken One's name, Caracus, and Saundra's fury made clear what I had done. Here in Sansa, to utter it is to draw his attention. Werewolves. She told us this realm holds 3 moons, the Garden, Sansa, and Saddam, so his power never wanes. In 9 days, when the moons reach their perigee, the werewolves will lose all reason, tearing through everything. Saundra said, La Rose lies in ruins. Its tallest spire touches a thinning, enough to summon a mid-circle demon. If I can hold it with a Uoker Daimonium Habentem, it might return us to the garden. She admitted she has tried for centuries and failed. When I called her Sayuth, she revealed herself fully. Vampiress and Daemoness both. Succubus. Her power crushed us, filled the room with terror and desire, then left her weakened and withered.
Welcome back to the Dark Razor Chronicles streamcast. I'm your host and author, Mike Carmel, and this is Season 3, Episode 3, The Succubus's Request. Tonight, Sharael and Cullen face Saundra's truth, her strength, her weakness, and a request that may bind them tighter than they wish. And in the garden, Krista's voice carries us forward as the weight of steel settles heavier on young shoulders, a burden that begins to feel like destiny. So find your seat by the fire, the blade sings on, and the story deepens.
Cullen, Avon. They're gone. The vision Saundra had imposed upon me. I try to recall them, if only to make sense of what had happened. But the memories, the worst of them, won't return. Only faint, fragmented echoes remain. The ones I'd glimpsed on the porch before Saundra's full transformation. I'm not sure whether I should feel relieved or terrified.
Can you summon a Magnificum?
I look at Sharael, still frozen, still trembling. I realize I'm still on the floor, on my knees. I don't even remember collapsing. With effort, I climb back to my chair and reach out, placing my hand over Cheryl's fist, still clenched tightly on her thigh. She blinks, snapping out of her stupor, and shakes her head before stopping, brow furrowing in thought.
I think I can.
Good. You know the means of escape. You know where it is to be done. The when is up to you.
Then we should go.
Sharael says, standing abruptly. Her movements are shaky, desperate even, as if the very walls of this place might close in on her.
But you haven't heard my request.
Sharael ignores her, stepping toward the door as though Saundra hadn't spoken. I will hear you out, I say, my voice steadier than I feel. I knew I would from the beginning, not out of trust, but because Saundra had the power to destroy us, and she hadn't. Saundra turns her head toward me.
I knew you would, Cullen Avon.
She emphasizes you, and Sharael freezes in place. Another blow to her pride. Saundra exhales sharply, then begins.
My request is both selfless and selfish.
So it's 2 parts.
So it is.
A faint smile pulls at the corners of her mouth, but her skin peels slightly where it stretches. Her hand drops to her lap, stroking something. I blink. Dagar. The little creature has returned, curled in her arms.
It's for Dagarth Garflin.
She says softly.
Dagger found his way into this world, into Sansa, by accident. I first noticed him maybe 400 years ago.
400? But you said you've known him for 2. She shrugs, the motion weak.
Does it matter? Time loses meaning here.
I glance at Dagger, watching him nestle into her arms.
When he first arrived, Sansa was still full of life. It's an inferno by name, but it wasn't always like this. Before the subraces began spilling through the thinnings, this world wasn't so different from the garden. Things grew. Creatures thrived.
She sighs deeply.
Centaurs first appeared about 1,800 years ago, or so it's said. That was when thinnings to Sodom opened enough for larger creatures to cross.
I raise a hand, interrupting. Saddam, you've mentioned it before. What is it? She eyes me indulgently, but her voice remains soft.
As Sansa is one step from the garden, Saddam is the second. Both are infernos, Saddam being greater.
I nod, trying to process this.
Centaurs were the first threat. Violent, but easy enough to avoid. Then came the orcs. And soon after, the werewolves from the garden. That's when everything changed.
I tense. Why?
Because werewolves, they don't just kill, they serve the Forsaken One, expanding his army.
She lowers her gaze.
The common folk here had no defense. Silver was too rare, magic too elusive, and fire too difficult to control. And werewolves hunt in packs. Even with a torch, one person couldn't fend off more than a single beast.
I grip the hilt of my sword, relieved. At least we have magic and silver.
And now, werewolves are nearly all that's left.
The weight of her words settles in. The realization hits hard. You're starving. The words escaping before I can stop them. Sharael scoffs behind me, but Saundra doesn't react. Her eyes shimmer, reflecting the firelight.
I am. I've held on this long, but yes.
So you want release. Dagger shifts in her lap, turning to look up at her, wide-eyed. He seems to understand. And Dagger, though I already know the answer. She strokes his head tenderly.
Dagger deserves a life outside this place. He wandered in here by mistake. I want him to leave. Go to the garden. Take him with you, if nothing else.
Absolutely not.
Sharael points at Dagger, trembling.
I will not bring your little rat minion into the garden. Who knows what kind of chaos he could cause?
Dagger's ears droop, and he shrinks into Saundra's lap, shivering. I brace myself for Saundra's anger after Sharael's outburst, but it doesn't come. Instead, Saundra looks at Sharael with a soft, tolerant smile.
The request is not of you. Dagger has asked this of Cullen.
I gasp, surprised, feeling Saundra's gaze shift back to me.
There is nothing for him here, Cullen. Please. The rest of his life would be spent dodging werewolves, surviving without purpose. He wouldn't die at the hands of those wretched creatures, but from the lack of companionship, adventure, fun.
Her sad smile widens, eyes glassy with emotion.
That's all he lives for, fun. In those first few years,
Her voice cracks as dark tears well in her eyes. They slide down her withered face, leaving bloody streaks in their wake.
He was such a rascal. Tormented me endlessly. We were enemies once. Heated ones. He tried to set me on fire more than once. I tried pulling him apart with my claws. He infused silver into my drinking water, even trapped Rakahans in my privy.
I blink, unsure if I should laugh or feel horrified. That sounds awful.
Oh, I'm sure it was back then.
Her gaze softens, glancing down at Dagar nestled in her lap.
But now, they're fond memories.
She strokes his head gently, her voice distant.
One day, I came home from a hunt to find him sitting in my favorite chair. I thought it was a trap, some new trick, but he wasn't plotting. He was giving up. A friendship meant more to him than winning.
The weight of her words sinks deep. I don't understand. How do you know? Saundra's tired eyes meet mine.
You'll come to understand, Cullen.
I can't allow it. I won't let you unleash that little rat on the garden. Who knows what he's capable of?
I glance at Dagar, who shrinks back slightly, his ears flattening.
Sharael, you don't understand. If Dagar wants to go, you won't be able to stop him.
I most certainly can.
She fires back, crossing her arms indignantly.
No, you can't.
She falls silent, her expression hardening in frustration.
It matters not. I ask this of Cullen, not you.
Dagger stirs as if on cue. Saundra releases him, and the little creature pads across the table toward me. His legs stretch longer than they first appeared, cat-like but exaggerated, comical in their awkwardness. He sits in front of me, looking up with wide, expectant eyes, teaspoon-sized and glistening. What kind of creature is he?
Krista Smithy, the weight of steel. 7 months. That's how long steel's been in our hands now. Long enough that I don't remember what it felt like to train without the weight. We carry them now, belts buckled, scabbards bouncing against our legs, but only when we walks the yard. Lork makes us rack 'em before meals, says, inside stays clean. And always, always, never beyond the property. We have our lunch on the porch. It's raining today, and our practice was with wooden staves. But rain or no, we practiced. So now we sit on our porch, having our lunch. All is quiet. Jin hates quiet. He fills it with mutters, gestures, shoulder nudges. He tips his cup toward me when Jilly ain't looking.
Bet we'd look proper striding down Parton Street with these.
Bet we'd get thrown in jail.
Yeah, maybe. But we'd look good doing it.
Later, chores done, Jin waves us off toward the woodshed instead of the porch.
Come on, a word.
His grin's wider than a watchman's lantern. Inside, the smell of cut wood and damp straw. We settle on logs and planks. Dan sits stiff, already frowning like he knows where this is headed. Jin leans forward, elbows on knees.
We've been here near a year. You feel it? We're better than we were. Faster, stronger. Look at us, we carry steel now.
Maury nods slow, eyes shining.
Never thought I'd have one. Not for real.
Dan clears his throat.
Lork says we're not trained. Not enough. Swords aren't toys.
No, they're tools. And what good's a tool if you never use it? There's more than this yard, Dan. There's towns, roads, docks, taverns. There's coin to be had and stories to be lived. You think the Razor's the only legend out there? Nah. But how we gonna know unless we go?
My heart hammers, not just at the words, but the way he looks at me while he says 'em. Like the whole idea is a secret for the two of us first. Dan shakes his head.
We promised. Terms were clear. Shed, work, no stealing, no leaving armed.
Jin smirks.
Terms were for strays begging food. We're more now. We've earned more.
Earned what? To walk out foolish and get cut down. We don't know what waits past the ridge.
Adventure. You think we're meant to rot in a woodshed?
I try to laugh it off, keep the heat out of my cheeks. Adventure, eh? You mean trouble.
Same thing. World's big, Krista. Bigger than this yard. Don't you ever feel it pressing?
I do. Every night. But saying it out loud feels like stepping fuel to the fire. So I shrug, mutter. Maybe.
Sure would be something to see the cats in Revette, yeah?
Dan scowls.
Sure, and mountain cats on our way there, ya, Maury?
We laugh, but the laughter's thin. We gives the boys the shove like Lork expects. We still got training to do. Jin and Maury would normally relinquish their blades now, but with the rain, we don't get to carry 'em today. Lork starts us off with forms. Not the simple lines. Not the 4 words he calls day after day. Forms with names like Whisperin' Step, Fallin' Feather, and Piercin' Needle. Oh yes, we's learnin' the forms. A strict set of moves that Lork used to train the troops. And we's getting pretty good at it, if I says so myself. The next week, weather's warm and sunny. Lork got a bit of a surprise for us. 5 backpacks lay on the grass when we rise to get our breakfast. Jin and Maury arrive as always, and Lork's got a test for 'em. A test that don't feels like a test. He hands us each a small purse of coin. Jin's eyes light with sparkles. Never been given a purse before. Never been given coin before, neither.
Here's a list of what you need to buy.
He gives us each our own. Dan and me can read just fine. Had our schooling before Mum got taken by the COVID. Jin, I knows can read, and Maury ain't got a letter in his head. He looks blank at the small bit of papyrus, thinner than parchment, hard to write on, but good for small things like notes. Lork continues.
These are each our packs. Everything that gets put into them has a purpose, has a place, and if packed well, has everything you need to survive indefinitely. That list has what we need to start. I want you to take your pack, go to market, and wherever else you need to go. Fill it with what's on that list, and whatever else you think you need. And tomorrow, we'll review them.
The papyrus crunches between my fingers. I smooth it flat and read the lines out loud for Dan's sake as much as mine. Flint and steel. Small knife. Soap block. Thread. Needles. Salt pouch. Dried beans. Rope cord. 2 candles. Spare socks. Oilcloth. Small pot and cup. Jin squints at his papyrus like he's seeing more than words there. Maury, well, he looks at it like it might sprout legs and walk away. Jilly pulls him close, runs the list out loud, patient as a schoolmistress.
Flint, say it.
Flint.
Maury repeats.
Thread.
Thread.
I expect him to stumble, but he don't. He knows more than we ever guessed. He grins sideways at me like he's in on a joke I'm not. Lork steps back, lets the weight of it settle on us.
1 coin purse each, 1 pack each. This is yours now. Don't waste it. Don't lose it.
His eyes land heavy on Jin at that last bit. Jin grins like he weren't thinking it no way. Jin and Maury are off soon enough, packs on their backs, purse in their pockets. Lork and Jilly gots us for a little longer. I think they's wanting us to separate from the boys, to keeps things tight between us. They don't mention what seems like a fortune that just left on 4 legs. That Jin and Maury'll leg it now they got some good amount of coin. That's what I'm betting on. The 2 of us head for town to catch the last of the market before supper. We's fill our list as much as we can, though half is about all we have time for. Back at the cabin, Dan and I sit in the shed with our packs spread between us. His list's already neat, folded once, tucked into a strap. Mine still open. I pick up my purse, feel the weight of coin. More than I've ever held in my life. More than enough to vanish. At least that's what I'm thinking Jin's thinking. The thought comes uninvited. Jin and Maury already gone. Packs on their backs, coin in their pockets, laughing their way to Parton Docks or the road to Rivet. Dan must read it on my face.
They'll show.
How you know? Dan just shrugs.
I know I would. I mean, they gets 2 meals a day for free, learning skills. Why wouldn't they?
'Cause Jin wants to see the world, yah. That night, after chores, I sit by the door of the shed, staring at the ridge. My pack leans on the wall beside me, half empty, straps loose. I imagine Jin's grin at the market stalls, the way he'd turn a haggler's sneer into a bargain. How Maury would follow 2 steps behind, wide-eyed at every market cat. Or maybe I imagine wrong. Maybe the coin shines brighter than the promise, and they're gone. Dan mutters from his blanket.
Stop thinking so loud.
I ain't.
You are.
When the sun rises, Dan and I shoulder our half-packed bags, still wondering. The ridge stays empty. My stomach sinks when we round the cabin wall and see Lork and Jilly alone on the porch. Lork's pack leaning on the railing, more things stacked. Blankets and more. Enough for 4, but 2 is all that showed.
It was a test, just like all of this has been. A test the 2 of you are passing. Well noted.
I'm thinking he means to go on, but is interrupted by a happy call from the ridge, as Maury waves his good morning before he slips and rolls down the path like a log, his pack flailing off his shoulders. Jin's laughter reaches us as they take their moment for Maury to gain his footing. Grinning like they never left, their packs are bulging. Jin waves his coin purse like a trophy.
We passed the test, yeah?
And I can't tell if he means the list or the fact they came back at all. I looks down at the pile again. Equipment, things we need to perform a duty. Flint, rope, beans. Small things, boring things, survival things. Maybe by themselves they ain't adventure, but maybe they's the start of one.
Cullen, Avon.
Sharael,
Saundra calls gently, her attention shifting back to her.
come, let us have words. I invite your questions.
I cannot allow this.
Sharael mutters again, though her tone is softer now, tinged with exasperation.
Please, Sharael,
Saundra insists, patience blooming in her voice.
come, let us sit by the fire.
Sharael hesitates, but finally relents, dragging her chair toward the fire. To my surprise, she helps Saundra move hers as well. For a fleeting moment, there's peace. I shift my focus back to Dagar, who remains seated on the table before me, staring up with unblinking eyes. Tentatively, I extend my hand, offering the back of it for a sniff. He leans in, his little nose twitching furiously. After a moment, he leans back, ears flattening expectantly. I place my hand atop his head, petting him gently. His fur is impossibly soft, like silk, though warm beneath my touch. It brings back memories. Marcy, my old cat. I chuckle softly at the thought of her. Plump, lazy, always fat with kittens in her early years and then fat from table scraps in her elder. Dagger responds like any cat might. He arches his back under my hand, pushing into the touch. My fingers brush against something rigid on his back, the leather sheath and tiny knife strapped there. "What's this?" I ask, tapping the sheath. "Do you actually use it?" Dagger lets out a sound, an attempt at a purr perhaps, but it's hideous. Wet and phlegmy, like he's drowning in mucus. It speeds up into a sticky, gummy gargle. It's disgusting, but somehow, it's also endearing. Then Dagar sits back on his haunches, his oversized eyes locked onto mine. He lifts his front legs, paws outstretched like a child asking to be picked up. "You want me to pick you up?" I chuckle, scooping him into my arms. He struggles for a moment, but soon settles, curling against my chest. His strange purr resumes, though softer now, almost soothing. I scratch behind his ears, feeling his warmth seep into me. "I, for one, think it'd be great to have you around," I whisper, more to myself than to him.
"Well, good!"
Dagger chitters, his voice high-pitched and squeaky.
"'Cause you're stuck with me!"
I nearly drop the little creature. Its shrill voice catches me off guard. "You can talk?" I ask, excitement lacing my words. But Dagar doesn't reply. I glance up at the two women. They've stopped their conversation to watch me. Sharael wears a look of dread, and I can guess why. Dagar isn't just some silly-looking cat thing with a knife. Saundra smiles knowingly.
He loves that first moment of surprise. But Dagar, you were supposed to hold your tongue.
There's an edge to her voice. She's vexed. Dagger shrugs, furrows his brow, and grabs his tongue with his forepaw.
"Is this better?"
A long silence follows, as we all try to process what just happened. Dagger's face has so much character. Cats don't smile or shrug, but here he is, more human than feline. When Saundra only smiles softly and shakes her head, Dagar speaks again, voice sharp and shrill.
"Well, you know me! Can't stay quiet if my life depends on it!"
Sharael groans and covers her eyes.
Don't worry, Sharael. He only jests.
Saundra reaches out, placing a hand on Sharael's knee, but Sharael jerks back, twisting away from her touch. Dagger cups a paw to the side of his mouth and whispers,
"Not really."
I laugh despite myself. What is he? A cat? A demon? Or something else entirely? What manner of creature is he? I ask, turning to Saundra.
That's something you should ask him.
A soft thump under my chin draws my attention.
"Hey, I'm right here!"
Dagar is glaring up at me, brow furrowed, looking genuinely cross. Sorry, Dagar. I lower him onto the table and he shuffles into position to face me. I'm not used to addressing, I trail off under his intense stare. Sorry. Dagar starts licking his forepaw.
"So, you're what, 220, 245?
Do you mean years old? He stops mid-lick, tongue buried in fur, eyes peering up at me. I'm 24, I say with a laugh.
"Whoa! 2,400 years old?"
Dagar manages, his tongue still out. 24, one less than 25. Dagar retracts his tongue.
"So young! You really from the garden?"
Yes, of course. I can't believe I'm having this conversation with, whatever he is.
I was born in Saddam, on Pesla Isle. Not far from here. Well, far if you count a different plate.
Pesla Island? On the northern tip of Van Isle? That's where I'm from. Parton. But you said Saddam?
That's right! We're practically neighbors, existentially speaking.
Pesla Island. They say there used to be a keep there. Destroyed around... I hesitate, wondering if it was during the fall of the White Circle. The murmur of the two women stops. I glance up. Saundra's watching me, focused. Had I said something important?
That would serve Coronis right.
Coronis?
The sorcerer who created me.
You were created by a human sorcerer.
Right. I'm a whatchamacallit. Who's a what's-it? Thingamadoink.
One of a kind, I offer.
That's it!
Oh, I breathe, awe creeping into my voice. A sorcerer can create life.
Sharael Maldine. I stare at Saundra, still trying to figure out how I even ended up here. She talks to me like we're old friends, rambling about Dagger's good points. But I'm barely listening. My mind spins with questions. As far as I know, there have never been holes between planes. Thinnings, she called them. Not during the Circle's reign, anyway. But this isn't after the Circle's fall. The amulets prove that. Saundra hasn't said anything to make me think the Circles are gone. I'm exhausted. Every muscle in my body feels wrung out from fear. Saundra's mental attacks, overwhelming waves of horror, had left me trembling from fear and exhaustion. Even now, lifting my hand feels like too much. I want to sleep, but I can't. I'm almost certain Saundra's a succubus. She admitted as much. It's the only thing that fits, something between vampire and demon. The fear she radiates is real, far beyond the manipulations of a vampire. But now she seems weak. Was that display of power earlier an act? I glance at her again, shrinking, withering before my eyes. No, I don't think it's fake. The Circles would never allow a creature like her to exist in the garden, yet she's hinted at dealings with them. Was she exiled here? Did the White Circle cast her out? But how does she survive? Does she need humans to feed on, or would animals suffice? I doubt it.
And that's where we leave it for tonight. That was Season 3, Episode 3, The Succubus's Request. Sharael and Cullen sit beneath the shadow of Saundra's request, her hunger, her weakness, and the strange companion that may change everything. Meanwhile, in the garden, Krista and her boys learn that steel is more than weight on the hip. It's choice, it's burden, and perhaps the first step towards roads they can't yet see. Thank you for listening to the Dark Razor Chronicles streamcast. I'm your host and author, Mike Carmel. Until next time, whether it's a blade on your hip or a strange creature clinging to your shoulder, remember, the weight we carry isn't always the heaviest thing.